Hey everyone! I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha, and I welcome you to my channel. As always, I'm so grateful that you guys are listening, subscribing, and commenting. I really appreciate the support. And if you're interested in supporting me further, you can do that by going to my Patreon link or Ko-fi link. They're in the description below. In this one, I wanted to speak to you guys about something that I've been noticing for myself that I do, that I don't want to do anymore, that I'm trying not to do anymore. And it has to do with the fact that not only do I make decisions when I'm panicking, which I've done a video on previously, very recently actually. So not only do I make decisions when I'm, not, when it's not the time for it, when I'm not in the right frame of mind for it, when I'm too tired to make it, but in general, I'm also noticing that I tend to decide on major life decisions when I am extremely fatigued, not only mentally, but physically or even spiritually sometimes. So, what happens normally for us is that, we're kind of going through our daily days and we're doing our work and we're figuring out stuff. And suddenly we kind of go through a crisis situation or something challenging, some challenging situation comes at us. Perhaps our car breaks down, or maybe we break up with our boyfriend, or we lose our job, whatever it might be, something happens. And obviously, in that moment in time, because you're panicking, or because you're stressed, or you're tired, or whatever it might be, because you're stressed, basically, what's going on with you is that you're using up a lot more energy than you normally use, and you're not probably drinking enough water. You probably skipped a couple of meals because you were too busy in your head kind of planning and thinking, and you're like, all right, what should I do? I don't know what to do. So basically you're in your head and you're not really thinking straight. So you're probably not eating well, you're not probably drinking enough water. You're probably also not sleeping enough. You were probably waking up in the middle of the night, worried and anxious and filled with fear and doubt. A lot of us are in that situation probably right now, considering what's going on in the world. And so, in this state of spiritual, mental, physical exhaustion, what we do is that we start imagining all of these scenarios. And we start thinking, oh no, so we kind of start extrapolating that negative situation to everything. So what I do is that, if one negative thing happens in my life, what I'll start thinking is that my entire life is a negative situation, right? So everything else might be going perfectly fine, actually really well, but this one thing happens in my life and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a terrible person. I'm a horrible person. I'm not doing anything for the world. I am a useless. I don't eat well. I'm fat. I am ugly. I'm never gonna have any friends anymore. So basically what I do is that little situation, that one thing, kind of transmutes into this huge thing where my entire life is a complete mess, which is not true. But this is what we do when we're mentally fatigued. And the basic essence of this video, what I want you to get from it, is to not believe the stories in your head when you're mentally or physically or spiritually fatigued. Do not believe the stories in your head when you are fatigued in any shape or form. All right? Because it is very easy for us, for our fatigued mind, because it's not getting enough food, it's not getting enough sugar, so already it's like a little bit down and depressed. It's not getting enough water, so again, that's not good for our cells. It makes it negative as well. And then we're in a negative state of mind because we're anxious or fearful, or we're not sleeping enough, which is again not good for our brains, not good for endorphins, not good for our neurotransmitters. Everything that we're doing it wrong. And so then obviously our neurotransmitters, our neurons are not in the best state of mind, right? They're not in the best state. Neither are our cells in our bodies. Neither are our gut bacteria. Like nothing is working properly, or nothing's working at its peak because we're not giving it the chance to do so. We are not eating well, we're not drinking well enough water, we're not spending time with family, we're not chatting or communicating with people, we're in our zone, in our heads, and we're anxious and we're scared and we're fearful, and we're not allowing ourselves, we're not giving ourselves the time or the space to recover or recuperate. And so when you are in that mentally fatigued state, when you are in that fatigued state where you're literally down and out, there are stories that will come up in your head. And I know for me, the stories that I can come up with, because my imagination is powerful, are extreme. They're literally like the craziest stories out there, right? I mean, right now, a lot of times when I'm in this mentally fatigued state, I start imagining that I have COVID. I'm like, oh my God, I think I have fever. And I'll start touching myself and I'm like, oh my God, I think I'm getting sick. And what am I going to do? How am I going to take care of my family? And all this stuff starts coming up. And, literally it's basically your mind going into a spiral and kind of creating all these random stories out of it, and then putting those stories in your head, making you feel even more anxious, even more fatigued, and the cycle repeats. It continues forever and ever until you stop yourself, and you really take a step back and you be like, all right, cool. I know everything seems like it's going to hell right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a nice meal right now, and I'm going to read something funny. I'm going to watch something funny because I want to change my mood. I want to change my vibration. I want to change my resonance. And so, you sit down, you have a really nice meal, something delicious, something heartful, something healthy, not, cheesy pasta or something that's really terrible for you, because that's not going to help either. But something delicious, something healthy, something filled with greens, something powerful, something filled with vitamins. And so you eat that and you take your time with it, you enjoy your meal, you watch something really funny, or you just eat your meal being mindful, or you read a manga and you rejuvenate yourself, right? You have a really delicious meal. You drink a bunch of water after, or coconut water, whatever you can. You drink it, you drink the water, you eat the food, you replenish yourself from the inside out. And then what I usually try to do, and this is not something that you guys have to do, but what I usually try to do is I try to take a nap, or I'll do yoga nidra session, really relax my body and get into a state of peace and contentment and serenity. Now, for you guys, perhaps it'll just be a nap, or perhaps you haven't been sleeping well, so maybe it'll be like a full day nap, or you just have to really recover your sleep, so you really have to make sure that you're able to relax yourself enough. Maybe for you, it's a hot tub, or a sauna, or a hot bath, or maybe a walk around nature. Whatever it is that kind of brings you back to that calibration point where you are at your peak. Because you're already fatigued, you don't need to fatigue yourself more. It's not going to help you. And if you are at that point, your brain is not thinking straight. I know you guys are probably like, no, I think best when I'm stressed out. Probably not. I'm really absolutely certain that it's not the best. Like, you might be able to do it a couple of times, but eventually your mind's going to be so fatigued that it will not be thinking straight. And you're going to be coming up with all of these negative stories in your head that's going to basically show you in very great detail that your life sucks and you are a terrible person and you should just probably end it. And I know I've been there many times before, and I'd be sitting there thinking, what's the point? Maybe I should just end all of this. Again, not thinking straight. My mind is not thinking straight. I'm too fatigued. I'm too tired to actually make a proper decision or to actually look at the scenario in a logical, rational manner. I'm thinking from my emotions. I'm thinking from my fatigue. I'm thinking from my exhaustion. And that's not a good thing. Okay? So a lot of you guys probably have done this to yourself before or are doing it to yourself right now. And really, I implore you to really make sure, the first thing you need to make sure is you take care of your body first. Take care of your physical structure, right? It's very easy for us to spend all of our time on our mental structure, but what we need to do right now, especially in these stressful times, is to come back to your body. So relax, make sure you're eating delicious, healthy food filled with vitamins. Drink loads of water, lots of purified, clean water, not Gatorade, not something else. Coconut water is fine, but not like, random other vitamin waters, but real water, clean, purified water. And drink loads of water, eat lots of food, and make sure to sleep as much as you can. Not that I'm saying you sleep all day long, but make sure you don't skip out on your sleep in order to work, or skip out on your sleep so that you can worry some more. Or I know a lot of people who do that. They'll just sit all night long and worry and worry and worry and think and ruminate and worry and reflect. And that's not a good use, again, of your time or of your brain power. And really, your body needs that sleep at night in order to rejuvenate yourself. Your brain needs that sleep at night in order to rejuvenate itself. Your immune system needs that sleep at night in order to rejuvenate itself. Otherwise, your immune system is going to go down, and that definitely is not a good thing right now. Your brain's not going to function perfectly. That's definitely, again, not a good thing. And so all of this tells you that if you want to be thinking at your peak capacity, and if you don't want to be making up all these random stories in your head, then it is your responsibility to make sure that you take care of this physical structure that you're in right now. Yeah, sleep well, eat well, drink enough water, and try as much as possible not to believe the stories that your head tells you, that your mind tells you when you're fatigued, because they're all false. They're literally all false. All right? I hope this makes sense to you guys. If you guys have any questions about this, obviously, comment below or ask me, and I shall do a follow-up video on it. If you have anything that you want to share with me, I'd love to hear from you guys about your own experience with this mental fatigue, and the stories that we tell ourselves. I'd love to hear your own experiences with this. Again, thank you so much for listening and watching, and I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.